peeps, welcome to another vlog. We are heading out to our first job site today. We are actually doing a bunch of finishing. We ended up doing this job sometime last year. We had to run a bunch of pipes. So today we're gonna be crimping some PEX, kitchen hookup, and we're also doing, I think we're installing a water closet and also maybe even a pedestal sink. So I'm not sure what's going on down there. Let's go and find out. Peeps, let's get to work. Let's have some fun. Oh, and by the way, peeps, you know what to do, baby. Let's go do some delicious plumbing. Alright, we got ourselves kitchen drain to do, putting in the basket strainer. So this is an island sink, which means that the vent actually goes underneath the floor. And the way I ran it is I ran it into the wall with the other vents and I connected them that way. But basically the trap is underneath the floor as well. We're not gonna have to put an additional trap. We'll have to put a clean out, connect it to the one basket strainer, and we're good to go. I won't be working on this, Dad will. We're gonna have to cut these two PEX, put in a couple of valves. There is going to be a dishwasher over here, it looks like. So we're gonna have to put a dishwasher Y and connect the electrical over there, and we're good to go. Alright, so I just wanted to briefly talk to you about what exactly I'm going to be doing on the job site today. If you take a look at this valve right here, this is a shark bite valve. And the shark bite valve is designed for a refrigerator line basically. Because everything's open, we were asked by the contractor upstairs if we wanted to swap this one out because he knows that we're not a big fan of keeping them in for permanent situations like this. But we're going to replace that, and that's going to be my job for right now. So the first thing that I have to do is basically clean up the area so I can bring in a ladder in there and then I can do some work as well. Let's get to it. I think that should do it. So peeps, look, I wanted to describe something to you very quickly, which is something that I used to do in the past, which I changed because my dad kept on correcting me, okay? So if you take a look over here, the shark bite valve, it's got no give. In other words, there's no spread, there's no movement on this pipe right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to cut it somewhere in here, make an incision, and then I'll be able to take this out and also take this pipe out. But basically, I need to essentially put a coupling in somewhere here. And what I used to do is sometimes put an incision really close to the joist. But if you do that, you risk burning the joist. The better option is to try to cut it somewhere down the center right here. That way when you put a coupling, you're not risking the joist at all. You're not gonna burn it. So you can just solder here and you have a pretty good solution for this as well, because then I'll be able to slide this out. Try to avoid the wood as much as possible, especially when doing soldering. If you're doing something like ProPress or PEX, everything there becomes a little bit easier. But even in those circumstances, you want to stay away from the joist because it's going to be hard to get your tool inside there and crimp, in other words. You want to try to go dead center somewhere so that you don't have to compromise space or compromise the joist itself. All right, I hope that helped. Let's go do this. So I've been waiting for about 15-20 minutes. It's still dripping. So what that tells me is that this is one of those systems that kind of has that constant irritating little trickle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get my shop vac and I'm gonna start vacuuming this. That way we can drain the system a little bit faster and we don't have to wait another 20 minutes just to put in one silly little valve. It's the one irritating thing about jobs like this, and that's why a shop vac is actually a really useful tool, not just for cleanup, but also for situations like this. But we've talked about that in the past. Let's go do that. Alrighty, so as you saw, it got a little bit smoother once the water was out. That's the biggest factor when it comes down to soldering. If you have any water in the system, as you'll probably already know if you've done this before, it's a pain in the neck and the rear end to try to get it out. But once you get it out, everything goes in nice and smooth. Take a look. Got our valve. Got our coupling.
Okay.
Homie, can you pull the line a bit? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, stop there, stop there. No, give it out a bit. That's good right there. Leave it there, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, bye. Alright, so all finished up. Want to show you where we're at. Got our valve right here, and I ended up running line for our refrigerator. And what you see there is I'm using strapping, but what I put around the strapping was electrical tape. There's a phenomena when two dissimilar metals are touching, they cause a chemical reaction and things start to corrode. From what I remember, this is called galvanic corrosion. So whenever we're dealing with metal studs and copper, we always have to put some sort of tape around the copper so that if the two metals are touching, they're not touching directly, they're touching with something in between them. You also hear about dielectric unions, which are used on hot water tanks for the same reason. What comes out of the hot water tank is different from the brass FIP that you put on top of it. So whenever two dissimilar metals do touch, we do our best to make sure that we put some sort of barrier between the two of them. That way there is no corrosion that takes place over time. Peeps, it was a shorter video, but you got to see a little bit of problem solving that's required whenever you're doing valves. I know we talked about this issue, but it's an important thing and it's gonna have to get drilled into your head over and over and over again. You need to be sure there's no water trickling through unless you're using a different system like ProPress or something like that. Peeps, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace.